And membership of CPTPP is no comparison to EU membership. The sum that it will generate is just a 50th of what the OBR estimate Brexit has already cost the UK economy. Indeed, leaving the single market, they estimate, means that our GDP itself will be 4% lesser over the next 15 years. And some have already estimated that GDP has reduced by 5% because of it. In 2022, the UK exported £340 billion worth of goods and services to the EU. By way of comparison, we exported £64 billion of goods and services to these CPTPP countries. So new clause 9 is about an honesty with British business about where those markets lie and where they should put their time. It's also about understanding that when we talk about free trade, it's not just about tariffs, it is about regulations, it is about the non-tariff changes that we face. That this could lead to a lowering of food standards and problems with our food supply chain. It could affect our ability, for example, to sign an SPS deal with Europe that might help remove those silly Brexit border taxes that mean that in a couple of weeks' time our constituents are going to be asking us why there's food shortages and food inflation and loads of lorries queued up at Dover trying to get to Sevington. It could lead to challenges for our environment. And the member for Brighton is absolutely right when he raises concerns about palm oil and deforestation. And absolutely, the absolute irony of seeing those people who championed Brexit and now champion the CPTPP not seeming to understand what investor-state dispute settlement provisions are and the lack of democratic accountability, the lack of control that we might have. I don't know who's taking back control under those circumstances because it's behind closed doors. So all we are left with are the claims of greatness, claims which disintegrate on hard contact with the here and now and what is actually being proposed and what actual damage has been done by Brexit. Here and now, those British businesses who find the Brexit border taxes are increasing, although I note today in a written ministerial question the government has decided to rewrite some of those Brexit border taxes, which are due to come in at the end of April. So that's great for British business as well. That's stability and planning that they can do when the government even doesn't know how much they're going to charge people. Those tariffs and non-tariff barriers that we now face as a direct result of having left the European Union, that the CPTPP is supposed to reduce, because after all, it's about reducing tariff barriers. Let us look then at the actual data that we have to hand and whether or not we can really judge this partnership as offering that salvation. Now, it's been claimed again, this time by The Telegraph, that this bloc will represent 16% of global GDP, leapfrogging is the word they use, the combined EU. It's currently actually 10% of global GDP, but, you know, Telegraph and figures, compared to 14% for the European Union. That the CPTPP member countries have a combined population of 500 million and a GDP of 9 trillion. Fantastic, we can be part of trading with them. Nobody would dispute that that would be helpful to British businesses. Just a small reference point, though, that I think this House should take into account, because although the EU is of a similar size, a GDP of 11 trillion, the total value of our trade with the European Union is 557 billion. That's 45% of our total trade. And it's a trade that is falling as a direct result of Brexit, because it used to be 55% of UK exports. And that is because for all the smoke and mirrors, for all the bluster about CPTPP, something very simple. Geography matters.
Click here to find out why the future has been cancelled.